joining us this week is the guy that does this.
That's it, guys. Now let's talk about this darts tournament real quick. Like I said, I've been struggling with my grip for the last couple months. What am I, 180 here? Hey, 180.
Hello everyone, welcome back to another interview we've got Nick this week from Bullshot Darts. Was it just Bullshot?
Bullshot darts, either one.
Either one. Cheers for coming on.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me, guys. When I saw the message that you guys want to come on and talk about darts, I love sharing my passion for it, so excited to be here. Thanks for having me, guys.
It's a thingy one, because obviously it's obviously America's not massively renowned for darts, but well, not major, because you obviously got your bigger sports that take over everything over there. i.e. Super Bowl tonight.
Yep.
and obviously I see it's a lot of soft tip.
Yeah, especially where I'm at, a little bit more predominantly soft tip. It all kind of depends on the region that you're from. Sometimes it's predominantly soft tip. Sometimes it's predominantly steel tip. Chicago has quite a bit of steel tip, but also a lot of soft tip. And I'm also really close to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin is, I don't think I've ever seen a steel tip tournament in Wisconsin, but their soft tip scene is huge. They have a state tournament every year where only Wisconsin people can come to. And I think it's one of the biggest tournaments in the country. So yeah, it's kind of polar opposites.
Yeah.
I don't think I've
I don't think I've ever seen a soft tip board.
I've heard of a soft tip tournament or anything in the UK. Certainly not Scotland. I don't know about down in England. I've never heard of it.
Not soft tip, mate.
Yeah.
So obviously, big first main question. Your darting story. How did you get into it? So I can imagine it's quite difficult then.
Yeah, it's kind of, when I was a kid growing up, my best friend lived across the street, and we had ping pong in my basement. We had foosball, pool. So we had all those kinds of games that we would play almost every single day. And then one day he brought over this dartboard. He's like, hey, my uncle gave this to me. Let's set it up. I'm like, all right, let's have some fun. We literally, it came in a darts cabinet. So we literally just put it on a shelf, and there was a little crack in the basement floor. We're like, all right, I guess we'll just throw from here. And we just started throwing darts. And so that's kind of started maybe from like my teenage years. And then as we got older, I ended up getting a dartboard in my college apartment. And then that's kind of where I started playing a lot. I actually threw a lot of darts in my college apartment for 2 years before I ever went out and played competitively, because I knew that I was going to be moving far away. And I didn't want to get too involved in the dart scene where I lived, knowing that I was going to be moving away. But looking back, that was pretty stupid. I should have gone out and played. I maybe could have made a couple extra bucks in college, but so I did a lot of practicing at home, and then I moved out of state, and that's when I started playing competitive leagues and tournaments and all that stuff.
What is your current 3-dart average? Have you got an up-to-date average?
Gosh, it has been crazy. So when COVID hit, obviously I was at home a lot, throwing a lot. And then coming out of COVID, when the tournament started opening back up, my darts were, I would say, if I wasn't at least in the 80s, it was a bad match. And then the last couple of years, the 80s have been a little bit more hard to get to. But, I just had a tournament a couple of weeks ago. My first match, I threw an 81 with the first 9 of 101. So I felt really good in that match. But then the match I ended up losing, I think I threw like a 67. So it's been a lot of ups and downs lately.
Yeah. Tom's sitting there thinking, I wish I could shoot
I'd take a 67.
Deal off.
So there's because obviously it's, see quite a few trophies as well. And I watched a video recently at work. I think it was a recent one where you was on about that tournament, and your first one you'd won in over a year.
Which tournament?
I've not gone that far.
I guess pretty much any time after a tournament, I'll upload a video. But this one right here,
quite a few trophies.
Yeah, I threw a lot of them away, but I just kind of keep the ones that have like significance you know. I don't know if I can change it, but yeah, just a couple like MVP trophies. One of the biggest one or most important ones right next to Wally there. When I first started throwing darts competitively, I was super nervous. I didn't really know my skill level and where I kind of ranked, but that tournament is one of the most important to me because it was my first time I've won an event. It was a 501 event, and I beat people that mentally I thought I could never beat. So it was kind of one of those big hurdle tournaments where I ended up winning it. Then I got MVP for the weekend. And that's kind of changed my whole darts trajectory because every single tournament I went to after that, I'm kind of like, maybe I can win it. Whereas before I was going to tournaments basically like, all right, here's my money. So that kind of had like a big mental shift. I feel like everyone needs one of those tournaments that they win and they're like, oh, I can win at darts. This is nice.
Yeah, so it's certainly a mental sport.
Yeah, 100%. I talk so
One way
much.
to put it.
Yeah. I talk so much about the mentality on my videos because I don't know. I honestly think it's the most important thing.
Yep.
So what got you into the making the videos?
So I've always enjoyed uploading videos. YouTube came out when I was a teenager. I got a webcam when I was a kid, and I always just like making videos, just stupid videos, whatever it might be. And then when COVID hit, I started recording myself playing darts. I was like, oh, I'll just record myself, maybe get some 1As, it'll be cool. And then it kind of clicked, is that why aren't I uploading YouTube videos about darts? Because in the past, a lot of times I didn't stick with the things I was uploading because I wasn't necessarily super passionate about it. But darts is something that I've always been super passionate about. So when it clicked, I was like, I need to start uploading YouTube videos of my darts. One, to hopefully promote myself as a player and help fulfill my dream of traveling and playing darts. But also, two, like you guys said, darts isn't the biggest thing here in America, but it is growing. And I would love to be someone to, help grow the sport here in America.
Yeah. I think the most depressing thing about what you said there was you were a teenager when YouTube came out.
Yeah. Yes.
Sam's a bit on the older side.
Yeah.
That's my Johnny Older side. But yeah, story you go, Tom.
I was trying to think there because I think I could think of like two American players off the top of my head. I have seen this growing. We've got, is it Bunce is American?
Yeah, we got Stowe Bunce. Bunce really made a big splash. Last year, I forget what tournament he was in, but he won, I think, 2 rounds overseas. And he's kind of like our Peter Wright over here, very flashy, the colorful pants and stuff. So obviously his darts are great, but then he also got that extra exposure because, same with Peter Wright. He's got great darts, but the mohawk and the fun outfits and stuff make it more fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what they say about the Premier League thing. It's not just your darts skill. It's a lot of it has to do with your personality as well. The guys that get onto that, and that's how a lot of people are saying, well, it shouldn't be like that. It should go on who's the better player. But it's all to do. Who do you want to watch? That's the thing.
Yeah, it was like when people got mad that Fallon Sherrock was in the Premier League, and it's like, yeah, she might not be the best player or whatever, but people love watching her play. And if it brings more eyes to the sport, I'm all for it.
I mean, I don't know if you've seen the effect of it over in America, but especially here last year, when Littler made his debut, darts just went through the roof. I mean, even now to get a board, the waiting time's ridiculous. The first bit, so when was that? 23, he made his debut.
Yeah.
So in that January, after it finished, I think for like 4 or 5 months, you couldn't get anything. Because everyone's just
the thing as well.
bulk buying it.
When I went into my work, there was a lot of the girls in my work. They were talking about Luke Littler, and you're going, how the hell do people know who this boy is? It is because he's so young. That was the thing, and it's just it takes a sport needs. It needs a story like that. It's like the Tiger Woods in golf and stuff like that. So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that has been helping it grow over here. I mentioned Fallon Sherrock. A lot of people were talking about her here, which got people interested. And then a few years ago, when Michael Smith and Michael Van Gerwen had the greatest darts in history, he's on the 9. They played that on ESPN here, which is our huge sports station. Ariel Helwani, who is a huge sports interviewer here, mainly in martial arts, but he had Michael Smith and Michael Van Gerwen on his show throwing darts, which was crazy, for stuff here in America. And then, last year, Luke Littler coming in and making all the way, or how far did he make it? In the to the finals with Luke Humphries. So that brought in a lot more attention. And now that he actually won it, oh my gosh, even more attention. I don't know if you guys know who Patrick Bet-David is, but he has a huge podcast here. It's one of the biggest in the world. And he had Eddie Hearn on, who is on the chair of the PDC. And Eddie Hearn went out of his way to bring up darts on his podcast. He's a big boxing promoter, but he went out of his way to bring up darts and talk about how darts is taking over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always just been over here. It's always just seen as the pub game.
Yeah.
But now you see a completely different light to it. And then for you, because obviously the sport over there, it's baseball, American football, basketball. Little darts don't get really a shoe in. It doesn't here. UK's football?
Yeah.
Soccer to you.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's about it, really. But obviously now,
it always was a
darts.
it always was a fringe sport, a fringe hobby, interest, whatever. But it certainly has, since the Luke Littler effect, it certainly has come into the forefront now. But like I said, it's all good.
Yeah, it's real. Anytime Luke Littler is successful in darts, I feel like just the sport is successful. I think he's just so important for the game of darts and the growth that's happening right now. It's awesome.
Yeah. And so many younger ones as well coming through. I don't know how much you see of it or whatnot, but in the JDC and all that, there are so many young players coming through. There's a 12-year-old that 90-odd average weekly.
Oh, jeez. It just makes me want to play the darts up.
They're not far off. It's definitely becoming a young man's sport now.
Yeah.
A young player.
That's what's awesome. It's when I was first getting into darts, watching it, I was watching Phil Taylor, Raymond Van Barneveld, a lot of these older guys. But now when you turn on darts TV, you got all these young guys. Obviously, Luke Littler being the youngest and all that stuff. But Luke Humphries is fairly young. Aspinall, a lot of these guys are in their mid-30s or even younger. And I feel like a lot more kids are growing up now, thinking, hey, I can be a professional darts player. I think the youth game is just, like you said, the JDC's got a lot of people coming up. Our youth programs here are growing. And it's just awesome seeing a lot of younger people getting involved.
I think that is the thing as well. There is a lot more of the junior development sort of stuff happening now in darts, which I don't ever remember hearing about in the past. But it seems to be in the UK, in Scotland anyway. It's definitely, they seem to be popping up everywhere now.
And that's one of the things I get excited. A lot of my YouTube, I try to promote it toward. I'm a school teacher, so I work with kids, every single day. So, I just want to see kids, get involved in hobbies and stuff. So when I hear of parents telling me that their kids are watching my videos to try to get better, or sometimes I'll have kids come up to me at tournaments and say that they watch my videos, it just makes me so happy because it's like I said, I want to be a part of this growth and stuff. So if I could help at all people just want to become better darts players and stuff, I love it.
Yeah. I think we'll need to get you to have a word with me and Tom then to make us better darts players. Jeez,
Some help's required.
Yeah. I was playing there's someone in our online league. I was obviously having fun with them, so he challenged me to a match today. And let's just say I didn't play particularly well. So yeah, much fun has been made of me today.
So go back to the video. Oh, sorry. Back to the videos. so you put up some like tutorials to like help with the improvement. Is this something that you've looked at doing, or is it just something that you know yourself, or you've taught yourself and you find that works for you, so you'll pass that little bit of knowledge on? Or do you have any kind of coaching?
I don't know. So, like I said, I'm a physical education teacher. So, teaching sports skills and just physical skills in general is something that I've always loved to do. I mean, I made a career out of it. So, and also, I feel like teachers are also really good at being students. So, like when I first got into darts, I did more studying than anything. When I was watching darts matches, it wasn't just for entertainment. I was watching to see how Phil Taylor, I've always watched Phil Taylor. He was my favorite when I got into it. So I was watching him. How is he holding the dart? How is his stance? How is this? Like studying and breaking down. I actually did a project in college on Phil Taylor in my exercise kinesiology class because we were talking a lot about the movement of the body. So people would pick a sports skill and you would break down the whole skill. And obviously darts, there's not as much motions as other sports, but regardless, like I studied his throw and broke it down and did a whole project on it. So I was just always interested in learning about it. So through what I've learned and basically what I've gotten from my personal game, I just kind of, try to explain how to get better in a very simple sense. Kind of like I explained to my kids, I teach physical skills to children. So you really have to break it down in a way that is easy to understand. So that's what I just try to do in my videos instead of making it, I don't like to overcomplicate anything. So
that's where you find it just goes over people's heads when it gets to that point.
Or they just click off the video. You sort of go,
yeah, right.
yeah. 'Cause I've obviously watched quite a few of your videos. I said that before we came on. And that's what I'd said to you earlier, is your videos are very easy to understand and you sort of present them very well. That's keeping people engaged. Maybe need to get some tips off you on that one as well. A lot of people don't watch it.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
What's that?
Do you have any like warm-up games? So when you go to the board, what do you do? Do you have a warm-up?
So usually right when I get to the board, my first 10, 15, 20 minutes, I guess it kind of depends. I just mindlessly throw. I don't want to overthink my dart shots when I first get to the dartboard because I am approaching cold and I'm not going to hit my target good. So if I kind of expect myself to and I start missing, it's going to start my practice session off with a bad mindset, which would be terrible. So I just kind of mindlessly throw it to triple 20. If I hit it, cool. If I hit 3 1s, I don't care because I'm just mindlessly throwing, getting my body warmed up. No different than a pitcher lightly throwing a baseball or, if you go to the gym, you do a couple warm-up sets. So it's more so just getting my body ready. And then from there, I usually just work on power scoring and my outs. So I'll just try to power score as much as I can. And then as far as outs go, I just think of a random out. It's like, okay, 62, try to take it out. 62 is one of my favorites. 82, try to take it out. I love working in the 120 to 130 range because it gives you that shot to at least hit one triple to have a look at the bullseye. Bull shot darts. I came up with the name because I absolutely love throwing at the bullseye. So anytime I have an opportunity to throw at the bullseye, I'm going to take it. So I like that 121 to 130 range. So I basically just a lot of stuff like that. And recently I got a Scolia unit. So I've been loving playing the practice games on there because it just automatically gives me outs to go for. And it gives you like streaks and stuff. So now it actually puts a little bit more pressure on the practice. Because if I get a streak of like 15 or 20 checkouts, now I have pressure to keep that streak going. And I think putting pressure on in the practice session is huge because it helps duplicate, what's going to happen at a tournament. So I've been having an absolute blast throwing on the Scolia. But yeah, so mainly just power scoring and doubles or checkouts.
So Tom, that's what you need to start.
Yeah.
Especially the doubles.
Definitely the doubles, mate.
Then one thing with sorry.
3. Oh no, did you get the leg?
What one?
Did you win a leg?
Against Stephen?
Today?
No, mate. No.
Yeah.
I
it was like 0 out of
best of
30. Oh no, that was
It
him.
was best of 11, was it? We played best of 11,
Yeah.
and I only had 9 throws at a double throws. So yeah, and it wasn't as if my opponent was playing really well. It wasn't. It was just it was dreadful darts. Absolutely dreadful.
That's crazy how that works out. There was just that match with Gerwin Price and Luke Humphreys, and Price averaged like a 119 and lost 6-1 or something. It's like, how does that even happen?
I seen. Oh yeah, that was just a little expedition, wasn't it?
I'm not too sure. I just saw the score line on my Facebook when I was scrolling through.
Yeah, it was something like Gerwin Price hit 118 average, and Humphreys was 112, 113, and lost 6.
Yeah, it was something crazy.
What's it like to get like the coverage of like all the big tournaments like the Premier League? Obviously, I know you can do it. You can get the PDC app, but do you have it? Is it mainstreamed on main channels over there?
I don't
So you
think
get
so.
like the Premier League.
Yeah. I mean, whenever I watch darts, I always watch it on my PDC TV. Every now and then, you'll see people talking about it on YouTube. I don't have cable, so I really don't know what's happening on cable. So I'll just see clips on YouTube. I don't think we have anything on cable channels here. We do have some American events. We just started up. Have you guys heard of Bull Shooter? It's like the big soft tip thing here.
I've not heard of.
No, I can't say we briefly heard about the CDC because a guy we spoke to the other day, he coached someone that's just won a CDC tour card.
Straight to the darts.
Oh, no.
Is that what you started? Yeah, I was watching a little bit before we hopped on here. So Bull Shooter's kind of like our biggest soft tip thing here. They have a event schedule all throughout the year. Whatever. It's just a big soft tip thing here. But they started the Bull Shooter Invitational, which is on ESPN, which was a huge thing for here in America. I think they started that maybe 3 years ago. I think I think there's only been 2 of them. I think Alex Spellman has won both. I don't know if you guys have heard of Alex Spellman, but he's one of our, great dart players out here. Oh, yeah, he was actually on the World Championship stage. He threw like a 99 or something and ended up losing to, I'm having a brain fart on his name. He's the really good double 16 hitter. I'm having a brain fart here. But
I can't. Not off the top.
He made a big splash on the overseas scene. And honestly, if he wanted to pursue going overseas, he could. But I think he's dedicated to staying in America and really helping the American scene, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is, though, you see it even with a lot of players over here. It's just not, unless you're in the top 64, top 32, it's like, so when they go and do these Euro tours, the lower players, it's like sometimes it actually costs them to go over and win it after you paid everything out. So I can imagine it being a bit difficult for someone overseas doing it, especially coming all the way from America.
Right. I mean, Jeff Smith has had he's from Canada, but Jeff Smith, Matt Campbell, Jules Van Dongen, a couple others, but these are guys that, got their PDC cards. And when I see there's posts on Facebook just constantly on planes back and forth, it's like, I couldn't imagine.
No, I do enjoy Leonard Gates.
Yeah, Leonard Gates, another great shot. He's been a big driving force. He's made a splash overseas.
Yeah, he does well in the Masters because he does the I can't remember how old you have to. Is it over 50? Over 50?
Yeah, like the seniors tour.
Yeah, seniors tour. He does that, and I believe he was in the World Champs this year.
Yep. Pretty sure
He was. I'm gonna say yes.
Yeah.
Like half confidently.
I'm pretty sure he was.
But there is some good players, to be fair. Like even the ones you mentioned, they're like I said, I can think of 2 off the top of my head. But as soon as you're saying them,
yeah, I'm sure if I rattled off a few names, you guys would know them. And it's the biggest thing here is you mentioned the CDC, and the thing with darts, it's like, well, I guess any sport or anything you do in life, you're not going to get better unless you're pushed to get better. So we have lacked, that here in America for a while. But with the CDC now, all the best players get to play each other a lot more consistently. And that is why you're seeing more Americans and Canadians coming overseas and getting their PDC cards because, we're finally getting that part of the game here. So in time, I don't think the first American world champion is, far away. Larry Butler's the only American to ever win a world title. And that was back in, I think like 1994, maybe 1992, somewhere in the early 90s. But I don't think it's going to be long before you see that happening a lot more. Jeff Smith made the finals in the PDC Masters here in Madison Square Garden last year, 2 years ago. And I think he lost 6-0 or 7-0. He got whitewashed. But the fact that he made it to the finals is so huge.
Yeah, because you see a lot of these where it's like, the one that's just happened was the Dutch. And their invitationals were outstanding. They had like Barneveld, Van Veen, Danny Noppert. But the one before that was the Asian one, where it's a bit of a walkover with all the PDC players. And then obviously you get the American one because is that in? It's in New York, isn't it? They host that.
Yeah, it was in Las Vegas for a few years, and then it got so big. Yeah, they moved it to Madison Square Garden for that U.S. Masters.
Yeah, because I remember Matt Cabell went distance, and he lost the year after to Luke Littler in the first round, and they made a big deal out of it. And he wasn't very happy. He wasn't very happy, bless him.
Yeah, and that's also a testament to the growth of the game here. So that U.S. Masters event used to be in Las Vegas. That was one of the big first tournaments that I traveled to. And it was in a hotel. If you played in the qualifiers, you got free tickets to watch the Darts Masters. So, it was awesome. I got to play and I got to watch it. It was great. But, like I said, you got free tickets and just play and all that stuff. And now it's in Madison Square Garden. They're selling out Madison Square Garden for this event. And they weren't 100% sure if they were going to come back because they wanted to see how successful it was and stuff. And the second the event ended, they're like, oh, we're for sure coming back next year. Like there was no doubt about it. So it's just kind of a testament to the growth of the game here. And yeah, having Jeff Smith in the finals was, awesome because a lot of people expect the North American players to get bumped in the first round. When I watch it, I'm just like, come on, North America, like, please just win one match. And then to have Jeff Smith go all the way to the finals. And I don't know if you guys remember, but in the semifinals, he played Luke Humphreys. And I don't remember if it was a 164 or a 161, but he came up there in the sudden death leg and took out the bull shot for the win. And it was, hands down, one of my favorite darts. I made a video about it, talking about it. Like, it was hands down one of my favorite darts moments ever.
Yes. Obviously, it's good to hear this. It's good to hear this growing around the world. But especially like, because you see what influence America can have on sport. It's not a small place. It's massive, and it has the opportunity to really go. And the amount of people there that I'm sure play it, you just don't see it. So what's your leagues look like? Pub leagues?
I haven't.
I'm going to say pub leagues. I don't know if that's what you call it.
Yeah. I haven't played leagues in a while. I live kind of far away from leagues. Minimum 30 minutes. And I'm not a big fan of you have to be here on every single Tuesday night at 7:00 deal. So the leagues that I have played were usually singles leagues where you kind of pick and choose where you want to play. And unfortunately, here in Chicago, the leagues used to be huge and the dart scene used to be huge. So here locally, I don't know where it's at now, but I know it's not as good as it used to be. But I see other leagues around the country that are thriving. So, but a big thing too, you mentioned, you said something that made me think of something now I'm forgetting. But anyways, if it comes to me, I'll...
people.
You said something about how so many people play. So what I was going to build on that is that the thing with darts here too is that if you talk to anyone about darts, they're going to say that they love playing darts. When they go out to the bars, they play darts and have fun. When I tell people that I travel for darts and go to tournaments, they're like in shock. They're like, what do you mean you go out and play darts at tournaments? I'm like, well, I go to, I travel, I get a hotel, there's dartboards in the hall, and they're absolutely blown away that that's even a thing. So I think that's another big thing here in America is that once people, even the average person, realizes that they can go out and play darts and join leagues, I think that's the biggest thing is just getting the word out there.
Yeah.
It's really it's interesting to hear about it, to be fair.
Yeah, it's crazy because like I'll tell people what I do, for darts. Like, what do you mean you play darts? Like, oh, you just go out to the bar and drink and play darts. I'm like, well, kind of, but there's a lot more that goes into it.
Because you're giving it the whole, like, people are shocked where here it's like, I'm going to the darts. It's a normal.
Right.
You're not going to get that kind of you go out and play it.
Yeah.
And obviously since COVID, this whole online scene's just.
Yeah, it's blowing up. Yeah.
That's
I was thinking.
That's been huge for the game here too. I mean, obviously the whole COVID situation sucked, but if we're going to look at some positive things, the online darts is huge. So there's a brand out here called DPFL, and they started just doing an online league. I think it might be the biggest online league in the world. If not the world, it's definitely North America. And they started just with a little online league, and now they're putting on one of the biggest steel tip events in the United States. I think they're paying out over $100,000. It's down in Florida. Some of the guys from overseas came out for it. It's huge. I think Simon Whitlock might have come out for it. There was a few PDC players that came out for it because it was huge, and it all started from the online darts league.
I think we're a bit off of that yet, Tom. I think we've got a bit of
Yeah.
to do.
We're not at that stage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's good though, because I mean, like with us, I think we built ours just on, people over here. It's like it all started off free and everything like that, and then it all starts to turn to money, and then it's like it gets quite serious. And ours is just such a light-hearted community.
Yeah.
It's, we don't take ourselves serious. If you've seen any of our videos or any of our stuff, then you will know that that's not us.
Yeah, I was watching some of it. And that's one of the greatest things you mentioned community. It's just the darts community is just so amazing. I was at a blind draw yesterday, and I was just talking to some people that I recently met, and just all the support and stuff is just absolutely incredible. I feel like for the most part, if you're out playing darts, like you said, we're not taking ourselves seriously. We're just out there having a good time. Like fun is first and foremost. If you're not having fun, why even go out and play? So that's one of my favorite things is going out and seeing people. I could go to tournaments all over the country and I see people I know that I only see at those tournaments. And it's like, oh, so good to see you. Like, that's just great.
Yes, so we're what? We're a year old.
Yeah.
As a group, we've just recently gone over a year, and
800 over it.
when we started to get a little bit bigger, we done a meet up as a group up in Liverpool, where a few of us went, and in June.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in saying June?
Yeah, June the 8th, I think.
We're doing another group meet up. Because we went through a stage where we went from like just 100 people in the group, but there weren't that many playing. And then within the space of I think it was like 4 days, it just went through the roof.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It's like, we couldn't believe it. We're sat there, phones going off, notification, these want to join. We're just like, Jesus Christ, I can't keep up with this. Because at that stage, it was just me and Tam
Yeah, we were
doing it.
Yeah. We had to actually
We was like, we need to get people into help.
bring other people in to help us out. That's because we've got, how many leagues have we got, Tom? 12?
12.
12 different
12.
divisions. So all different
Wow.
levels, obviously, so we were going, right, there's no way we can keep on top of that ourselves, as well as do all the other stuff. So Yeah.
Yeah,
Great,
that's great.
So we've got. So what I know, we've got 3 Canadians in the group,
Oh, sweet. Oh, sweet.
and we have got an American, and we've got an American, and he keeps saying New Jersey,
Yeah.
every time. So I'm guessing that's where it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've spoke to him. I have chatted to him.
Oh, you have spoke to him.
That's what he says.
So yeah, we're not just UK either.
Yeah.
We've got
We had an Australian.
Devlin.
We had an Australian in, but that didn't last long. That was like 12 hours difference or something. You're going right.
Oh, geez. Yeah, that's like impossible to.
it was a bit like the so what was it? We had someone in from the Philippines.
Mhm.
That was a difficult one as well because they wanted to play their games at like 8 o'clock in the morning our time. Not many people are around for that.
Yeah.
But we've got
Yeah, we've got
a couple of Spanish,
yeah, all over the place.
Netherlands, Germany.
And that's what's so cool about the online leagues. Yeah, I mean, you could play people from all across the world on any given day of the week. Like that was almost that was basically unheard of, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
it's the. I mean, I think it's more as well as like one message that we're pushing as well is like our groups now for like because we've got players in there that are not very good or they don't have the confidence, and it's like we're trying to create this space now where don't worry about your average, don't worry if you're going to win, don't worry if you're going to lose. Just come and have a chat.
Yep.
Yeah, come in, have some fun, throw some darts.
Yeah,
Do a thing. It's a team league. It's called, and it's basically it's like a pub league format. So there's 6 players in each team. Is it 6 or 5? 6 players in each team, and it's just a blind draw. So you could end up the worst player in a team could play the best player in another team. So it's just it sort of mixes it up. It's something that's a little bit different rather than facing the same people all the time. If you're in the same league as them, and then you're in the team league and the little. So yeah, it's a bit of variety. Yeah, it's good. What is that you're drinking, Tom? Is that pineapple?
orange and lemonade.
Oh, it's a good combo.
That's it. Yeah.
Nice, mate.
So quickly, I did briefly mention it at the start. Going away, Super Bowl prediction.
Gosh, it's funny. So I'm a physical education teacher, so like highly involved in sports. And I honestly do not watch anything sports related other than darts. No, but I mean, I guess if I had to give a prediction, I would say the Chiefs, just based on what I've heard and the fact that they've won the last 2 Super Bowls. But I guess I'm kind of hoping that Philly wins. But at the end of the day, I got some football squares for the Super Bowl, so I'm just hoping my squares hit and I win a couple bucks.
I tell you what, I didn't expect that when I asked that.
Yeah. I know it's funny. Whenever my kids ask me about sports, I'm like, sorry, I don't know. I try to keep up a little bit, like I follow the NFL and some sports teams on Facebook because, I mean, I used to watch football every single Sunday. I used to be a big Packers fan. I was a big Chicago Bulls fan, so I would always watch all the games. And then I would watch and I would get so mad when my team would lose. And then I got to a point where I'm like, why am I letting this wreck my day? Like I would have to go to school and have everyone talk crap to me that my team lost and stuff. So I'm like, I just got to stop.
That's it. Just stick to the darts and no one can.
Exactly. And then when people ask me, oh, well, what sports do you watch? Oh, I watch darts. And then, like I said before, it's like that. What are you talking about? What do you mean you watch darts? Like,
So you mentioned in there that you teach PE, physical education. Is it something that you could take into the school to do? Because I've seen here now, it's something that there's a few schools around that are doing it.
so
Is it something that could work?
yeah, so we get a budget every single year. You get to spend this amount of money and basically buy whatever you want. And this year I bought, I think like 10 of those magnetic dartboards because I definitely can't be bringing sharp projectile objects. I could see that becoming a big problem. So I got the magnetic dartboards and I did one lesson with them and it was a little bit crazy. So I'm working on just kind of spreading them out and yeah, but basically long story short, yeah, I'm going to work it into my curriculum. probably do about a 2-week unit on it because, I mean, outside of darts being great for hand-eye coordination, the physical education aspects of, hand-eye coordination, and of course, we could bring in some exercises into the games, but darts is also great for kids for math and numbers. So if you ask the average person what's 19 times 3, they're going to have to sit there and think about it, whereas dart players were like 57.
Tom was just sat there, he was trying to figure it out when you said that.
He's like, wait, what is 19 times 3?
Yeah, I'm notoriously terrible at maths, but it's funny that you say that. As soon as you think 3 times 19, your brain automatically comes up with the answer because I've played darts so much.
Well, and that's the thing with darts math. It's like when you first start playing darts, in my mind, I'm thinking like, all right, I got a triple 20, a triple 19, and a single 18. It's like, all right, I got to add this up. But, once you learn the game, you just learn that, okay, 3 of this, and 2 of this just equals this. You just automatically know it. Like 7 times 19 would be a harder math problem to figure out than 3 times 19. But 7 19s, it's like you just know, okay, 133. You don't even, think twice about it.
Yeah, Devin Peterson's brought out the mass pack. I don't know if either of you have seen that.
Like a math thing? Is it a program that he's selling or something?
Yeah, it's in school. It's Darts Mass. You'll have to have a look at it. It's brilliant. It's generally it's something that is.
I'll have to check that out. I like Devin Peterson. I actually got to meet him. I met him and Damon at I think 3 or 4 years ago. There was this tournament maybe like an hour away from me, but they started bringing 2 PDC players from overseas. That's kind of one nice thing that since we have more Americans going over to overseas, they're making friends with these guys. So they're like, hey, we're doing this event over in America. If you came over, these people would love to meet you. Like, it would be awesome. So they started bringing people over. And the one event I got to go to was Devin Peterson and Damon Hedda were there. And, it was just awesome because it was my first time actually meeting professional darts players, actually getting to talk to them and share the darts board with them. We actually got to play against Devin Peterson in cricket. And that was interesting because I know you guys don't really play cricket out there. So it's kind of interesting because I was, playing against Devin Peterson, PDC cardholder, in a game that he really didn't know what he was doing, but it was a blast.
Cricket's one of them over here. It's like, excuse me, depending where you are, is what version you play. In the end, it's just 2. Because obviously, Dark Counter has a version.
Yeah, I've never actually played the game cricket.
You haven't?
No.
So when you say different versions, what do you mean? Like, what are some of the different versions that you guys have out there?
Oh, now you put me on the spot. All I know is that, so the normal way of playing it, I think that's, if you further up north you go, it just tweaks it a bit and they score it different, or you can only do it certain ways.
Yeah, because we have a couple different versions out here too. But I mean, if you go to, any tournament, it's basically the same one. To get kind of the different versions, it's usually location based. But I love cricket. I know a lot of people talk smack about it, especially in my videos. I get a lot of people that talk smack about cricket, but I think it's a great game. And 501, I always say, is more of like a sprint. You're trying to get to that double as quick as possible, then you have to hit that double. So it's more of just a sprint. Whereas cricket, it's more of like a chess game or like a boxing match. You're kind of setting each other up. You take your shots. You go for the big hits. Sometimes you get hit big, and it's about how you recover. So there's just like a lot more strategy that's involved. Obviously, there's strategy in 501, with your setup shots and stuff like that. But cricket, it's just a super strategic game, like a game of chess. Like, you are trying to dictate your opponent. They're trying to dictate you. There's just a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, because I think it's your 501. See, I always say is that when I'm playing someone, I'm not playing the opponent. I'm playing myself.
Right.
You don't worry about what they're doing whatsoever, because it doesn't matter what they're scoring. You can only control what you're doing. but in cricket, you are generally playing your opponent.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not, yeah.
501, you're playing the board. Exactly. Cricket, it's like, no, you need to see what your opponent's doing and base your throw off of that. A lot of strategy and also a lot of mind games, because similar to 501, let's say you have your opponent's on 170 and you have 50 left with one dart. Are you going to take a look at that bull shot because they might take out that 170? Or are you going to throw a 10 or an 18 to leave yourself a double and kind of play that mind game of, I bet you can't take out that 170? And that's almost every single throw in cricket, because, yeah, you're trying to dictate what they throw and get in their mind and say, I don't think you're going to be able to take the score lead on me, so I'm going to throw this. And that's one of my favorite parts about cricket, is kind of playing that mental game on almost every single throw.
Well, maybe need to have a wee game against each other, Tom. I've never see what it's like. I've never tried it, as I said. So maybe have a wee game of
Give me a
that.
game in cricket.
Yeah.
We'll have a game. There we go. That's what we've got from that now. Tomorrow we're having a game of cricket.
Yeah.
That'll be our next one night tournament cricket.
Oh, no.
No.
Yeah, Mark Jackson will turn up with all the gear on.
With his pads on.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. That was a bit. So that would be a bit too long.
It's fun. Like, once you learn the strategy and stuff, like, I think it's an awesome game. It's so much fun. But a lot of people say that cricket's a big reason that we aren't as good as the guys overseas, because we don't just focus all on 01. A lot of players focus on cricket and 01 instead of dedicating themselves to strictly 501. But I think they complement each other. But
Do you think like the huge presence of soft tips an issue as well? 'Cause it's like it's a different throwing distance, isn't it? The darts tend to be a lot lighter.
darts are lighter. Yeah, the distance is different. The targets are bigger on a soft tip board. I have never hit a 9-darter or come close to hitting a 9-darter in steel tip, but I have a couple on a soft tip board. Yeah, it's just like two completely different worlds. I think they complement each other well, and I think a lot of players should play both, but unfortunately there's a lot of soft tip players that only play soft tip. But if they picked up a steel tip set, they probably would be really good and really competitive, but they're set on the steel or the soft tip game, and it kind of goes the same with steel tip. I feel like steel tip players are a lot more likely to incorporate soft tip into their game than a soft tip player to incorporate steel tip. And I don't want to say anything negative about soft tip players, but I honestly think a lot of them are, I don't want to say the word scared, but I think they're hesitant to go to steel tip because of the fact that it's a harder game. Because soft tip's easier in a sense that it's easier to hit your target, but that makes it harder at the same time because your opponent's going to hit their target better. Whereas steel tip is harder because it's harder to hit your target and easier to win if you're a better player. Is that making sense?
yeah. I actually do get what you mean.
But
as you're saying this now, how easy the soft tip's a bigger target and all that. Tam's currently looking through his tabs to try and order himself a board. Just so he can hit something.
Hey, well, you know what? I always say playing soft tip is a great confidence booster because you're guaranteed to hit the triples a lot better. And when you do, it's like, oh man, like that's great.
Yeah.
To be fair, I've never tried it from I've had the kids with a soft tip board that's not great, but I've never tried it throwing from because what's theirs, 8 foot? Is his thrown line 8
something like
foot
that?
Maybe.
It's further away. 8'6", is it maybe? Was it 8'6"?
Have you got a mat on the floor?
It's right underneath me, mate.
Yeah. So that further line's the soft tip one.
Yeah.
Yeah, soft tips, a couple inches longer. So when you guys go out to the pub out there, what are the chances of seeing a soft tip board?
I've never seen a soft tip board.
Never seen a... Okay, wow.
Never. I've seen, you can get the bigger places will have the soft tip machines. I think that's what kind of on. There's some of them scattered about, but I've never seen a soft tip board at a pub.
Wow. Yeah, that's crazy because, I mean, once again, it's location dependent around here. But if someone tells me that there's a dartboard at a bar, my mind automatically goes, oh, it's probably a soft tip board. Whereas it's harder to find the steel tip boards around here.
Yeah, that's weird.
And we have a lot of bars that have both, which is nice. But yeah, like if someone tells me that there's a dartboard, like if I'm asking someone, hey, do you know, a non-darts player, if I'm asking them, about different places and if they have a dartboard, if they tell me that to do, I'm automatically just going to assume that it's a soft tip board. Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
Brilliant.
Different worlds, eh?
Yeah, it's mad to swear the different sides of it all and like how different it can be.
Mm-hmm. No, definitely, mate.
It's
Yeah, I think it's huge for players to be able to play both, though. You brought up Leonard Gates earlier. Leonard Gates is extremely successful in soft tip and extremely successful in steel tip. He's like that hybrid player. And I think if you were to ask him, I think he would say that his soft tip helps his steel tip and his steel tip helps his soft tip. So I think both games are great and can complement each other and really, just help evolve players and stuff and just grow the sport in general. I hate that there's a war between steel tip and soft tip sometimes because it's a different game, but it's the same sport. And I just think that we really need to work together and get involved and grow both of them.
But I think it is something that is just to America, though. I don't think that is an issue in the UK because we don't really have soft tip boards, so
Right.
we don't really hear about it. So I think it is mainly yourselves that have that problem or that battle. But it's not here. No. There you go.
obviously all getting now is in like smart board designs and like I said, you got yourself a Scolia.
Oh gosh, the Scolia is amazing. I have not had more fun playing darts since I got that Scolia because, I'm all for learning your math and all that stuff and chalking matches, but it's nice to be able to practice and just get rid of the math aspect and just focus on throwing your darts. And there's a lot of games on there that I normally wouldn't play practicing because I don't want to deal with the math. Bob's 20, I think it's called Bob's 27 is a big practice game where you throw at all the doubles. And I'm not going to sit here and write down my score and keep track of that, because I want to focus on throwing my darts, but it's on my Scolia, so I've been playing it.
Yeah, it's something I keep trying to convince the missus that is an essential item that's needed for that.
It is much needed.
Yeah.
But trying to tell her that it's a bit.
It's one of those things because I remember I wanted one for the longest time, and I'm like, I don't know if I can justify spending that money just to keep the math for me and like all that stuff. So I never did it. But I don't know if you guys are familiar, but Iron Man Darts is another American darts YouTuber. He reached out to me because he got the newer Scolia, and he was like, "Hey, I'll send this over." I'm like, "Well, all right, yeah, I'll take it." And ever since I got it hung up, like I'm kicking myself in the butt for not buying it years ago because within the first 10 minutes of having it, I'm like, I wish I had this since I first started playing darts because it's just such an incredible piece of technology for the darts world.
But I think there's now Target have brought theirs out, the Omni.
Yeah, I heard about that one too.
And obviously, but that's cheaper here, or it was, but they put the prices up because of shipping and all that. But Scolia community is a lot bigger and it's more advanced than what the Omni is. But they'll catch up. So there's two different options now. It's just which one can I convert?
Right.
I'm allowed.
And competition's always good. So hopefully a couple more companies come out with one. And yeah,
Well, that's it. It's people pushing each other. It's only going to be better for everyone. So, you can get the apps on your phone now where you just use your phone camera to water.
Yeah, I saw that for like $15 or something. Yeah, you just set your phone up and look at it, and it tells you where your darts hit. That's crazy.
And I'll tell you what, they're not wrong either. You'd think something's so cheap that it wouldn't work, but they're brilliant.
Yeah. I've been tempted, even though I got the Scolia, I've been tempted to buy it just to try it out. Or maybe even
I would.
Yeah, I think it's only like $15 or something too. So yeah, it's worth it.
Did you get them? Have you got it?
I haven't got the So I've got the one where, but you have to buy coins on this one
Yeah.
to play per leg.
Oh, so you like pay per leg or something?
Yeah, so I'm not keen on that.
That's
But you can do the like. So the concept of it's great because you could do like, I could play someone in the same house on it, and we don't have to pay, and it does it. So it's brilliant. But I just don't like the if you sit there and say like, £15 for a year, I'd be all over it,
Mhm.
and it generally will be the way to go. It's going to come to the stage where auto scoring is it's the normal for everyone.
right. I mean, it's kind of
It's
already
going to get to that point.
it's kind of already starting because Dart Connect, you know, the automatic. Have you guys heard of Dart Connect before? So like that was unheard of in the PDC not that long ago, but now there's quite a few tournaments where you see the scorekeeper. He's sitting there punching the numbers in on Dart Connect. That was another really big thing for darts here in America.
So I think the only ones that you actually see now chalked are the main TV
Yep.
ones. Everything else is just done on Dart Connect.
Well, it keeps your 3-dart average and stuff like that as well, though, doesn't it? It keeps the sort of all the stats for you.
The stats are incredible. Yeah, like after every single match. So tournaments use them here too. So let's say there's a big tournament. All the players have to check into Dart Connect. So it keeps stats for every single player, every single leg, every single match played. So you can compare your numbers to everyone that was in the tournament. You can look at your 3-dart average, your first 9, your checkout percentage, line graphs telling you where you were. Like, it's crazy. I absolutely love Dart Connect. And it's only like $24 a year, so $2 a month to have all those stats and, you know, make the tournaments that much easier is great.
Yeah.
Because I believe now they do the thing where you can do cameras online with Dart Connect.
Yeah, I haven't used it yet. So during COVID, I tried doing a league once, and yeah, it was nice to play because it was the only way to play, but I absolutely hated it because I just had a hard time getting into a competitive spirit. Like, I'm throwing competitive darts in my pajamas. I just had such a hard time, like, enjoying it. So I packed up all the cameras and stuff. So I haven't tried. Obviously, I got like my recording equipment out, but it's, you know, more to do the darts online. But yeah, they got something on there with like the lobby, and you can play people on the lobby.
Yeah. I did see they've started that.
But I've been doing. Oops, sorry, go.
No, I was just going to say that's the dart counter. That's the one that we use is dart counter, and it's the same idea. It's online. You can play online. It's great.
That's the Target one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that too. There's a darts YouTuber I used to watch. I think his channel name was like Dart Counter or something. I don't know. But that's what's nice about the Scolia. Yeah, like if I want to play darts online, I just turn it on, log in, and play, and I don't have to set up my cameras or anything because, I mean, it's pretty hard to cheat on the Scolia. You can, but it's like extremely inconvenient. And if someone feels the need to cheat to win, like, go for it. I don't care. But it's nice that I could just hop on there and play competitive steel tip darts like at the snap of a finger.
Yeah, I think we've been a lot of people saying it as well. It's like, why would you pay that much money to cheat?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, what are they, about £500, I think. I don't know why you'd pay that just to stand.
Yeah. Like,
I just,
and it's like, if you do have that, I feel sorry for you if you have to do that. And like, sure, you can beat me. Please win if it makes you feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a lot of the people that have the cameras off as well, and they all of a sudden they hit 9 dart legs.
Right.
Yeah. You don't.
Should be on stage somewhere.
Yeah. You're always.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what sport you do. You're always going to get people that cheat. You can't avoid it. Yeah.
And the Grand Board is a soft tip version of that, which is nice. I bought a Grand Board last year. So it's basically a soft tip board that hangs up on the wall. If you check out one of my streams, you could, like, that's what I stream on. But if you just have a phone or a tablet or something, it Bluetooth connects to your dartboard and it uses your camera to look at you. So that's another great way to play darts online. I've played guys from, Spain, UK on there. So there's like another fun way to, play people across the world and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah. Although Tom generally plays in the nude, so I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
camera point.
Yeah.
it's like that.
Well,
It's like that new vert.
people were actually getting in trouble because people were playing on the camera naked.
Yeah.
So like the Grand Board had to, I forgot exactly what they did, but they had to put a ban on it. And all the Facebook community people were talking about it. Like it ended up being an issue. Yeah, all these people playing naked. And I'm just like, what is wrong with people?
I mean, you see some of the images of people's boards or their setups, or there was the one the other day of the guy in his pants looking out of his kitchen window.
Yeah.
There was one of a guy, he'd set his camera up and his nan was sat on a chair. The camera zoomed out and she just sat there underneath like the board. It's just like
Yeah.
mind blowing.
Welcome to the United
Mind
Kingdom.
blowing.
Yeah.
That's how we advertise ourselves.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, that's an hour we've been doing there, boys. You happy to wrap up there?
Yeah, all good.
Um,
One thing before we do though, obviously make it sound like I've got a massive announcement.
yeah, I'd just like to do that.
Ooh.
Push you under pressure.
No, I just wanted to say, obviously, cheers, Mick, for coming on. We will pin your videos, your channel. Guys, like and subscribe him. Go and watch his videos. Me and Tam have seen them.
Hey.
Good watch.
I will stick some links in the description, guys. Just you'll be able to find all the stuff there. So, just get clicking away. Thank you so much, mate. Yeah, that'll do us. So, thanks for watching, everyone. Until next time.